All right. What chapter are we on now? This is Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. I believe we're on chapter 11. We get to find out what Jim Hawkins heard while he was hiding in the apple barrel. Am I too close? Am I too close? I can read it better. Right up. Okay. I'll scoot back. I'll scoot back to where I belong. What I heard in the apple barrel, chapter 11. I'm wrestling. No, not I, said Silver. Flint was captain. I was quartermaster along with my timber leg. The same broadside I lost my leg. Old Pew lost his deadlights. It was a master surgeon, him, that amputated me. Out of college, you know. Latin by the bucket and whatnot. But he was hanged like a dog. Sun-dried like a rest at Corso Castle. That was Robert's men, that was. And come to changing of times to their ships, royal fortune and so on. Now, what a ship was christened, so let us stay, it says. So it was the Cassandra, as brought us all safely home from Malabar, after England took the viceroy of the Indies. So it was with the old Walrus, Flint's old ship, as I've amuck with the red blood and fit to sink with gold. Ah, cried another voice, that of the youngest hand on board, and evidently full of admiration. He was the flower of the flock, was Flint. Davis was a man too, by all accounts, said Silver. I never sailed along with him, first with England and with Flint. That's my story. And now here on my own account, in a manner of speaking. I laid my 900 safe from England and 2,000 after Flint. That ain't bad for a man before the mast, all safe in the bank. 'Tain't earning now, it's savings, does it? You may lay to that. Now, where's all England's men now? I don't know. Where's Flint's? Why, most of them aboard here, and glad to get the duff. Been begging before that, some of them. Old Pew, as had lost his sight and might have thought shame, spends £1,200 in a year, like a lord in Parliament. Where is he now? Well, he's dead now and under the hatches, but for 2 years before that, shiver me timbers, the man was starving. He begged and he stole and he cut throats, and starved at that, by the powers. Well, it ain't much use after all, said the young seaman. 'Tain't much use for foods, or fools, you may lay to it, that for nothing, cried Silver. But now, you look here. You're young, you are. But you're as smart as paint. I see that when I set my eyes on you, and I'll talk to you like a man. Now, you may imagine how I felt when I heard this abominable old rogue addressing another in the very same words of flattery as he had used to myself. I think, if I had been able, that I would have killed him through the barrel. Meantime, he ran on, little supposing he was being overheard. Here it is about gentlemen of fortune. They lives rough, and they risk swinging. But they eat and drink like fighting cocks. And when a cruise is done, why, it's hundreds of pounds instead of hundreds of farthings in their pockets. Now the most goes for rum and a good fling, and to sea again in the shuts. But that's not the course I lay. I puts it all away. Some here, some there, and none too much anywheres by reason of suspicion. I'm 50, mark you. Once back from this cruise, I set up gentlemen in earnest. Time enough too, says you. But I've lived easy in the meantime, never denied myself of nothing hot desires, and slept soft and ate dainty all my days, but when at sea. Now, and how did I begin? Before the mast, like you. Well, said the other, but all the others' money gone now, ain't it? You daren't show face in Bristol after this. Why, where might you suppose it was? Asked Silver derisively. At Bristol, in banks and places, answered the companion. It was, said the cook. It was when we weighed anchor, but my old missus has it all by now, and the spyglass is sold, lease and goodwill and rigging, and the old girl's off to meet me. I will tell you where, for I trust you, but it'd make jealousy among the mates. And can you trust your missus? Asked the other. Gentlemen of fortune, returned the cook, usually trust little amongst themselves, and right they are, you may lay to it. But I have a way with me, I have. When a mate brings up a slip on his cable, one as knows me, it won't be the same world with old John. There was some of that who feared the pew, and some of it was feared of Flint. But Flint, his own self, was feared of me. Feared he was, and proud. They was the roughest crew afloat, was Flint's. The devil himself would have been feared to go to sea with them. Well, now, I tell you, I'm not a boasting man, and you've seen yourself how easy I keep company. But when I was quartermaster, lambs wasn't the word for Flint's old buccaneers. Ha ha! You may be sure of yourself in old John's ship. Well, I tell you now, replied the lad, I didn't have a quarter like the job till I had this talk with you, John, but there's my hand on it now. And a brave lad you were, and smart, too, answered Silver, shaking hands so heartily that all the barrel shook. And a fine figurehead for a gentleman, a fortune I never clapped my eyes on. Now, by this time I begun to understand the meaning of their terms. By a gentleman of fortune, they plainly meant neither more nor less than a common pirate. But the little scene that I had overheard was the last act in the corruption of one of the honest hands. Perhaps of the last one left aboard. But on this point I was soon to be relieved, for Silver, giving a little whistle, a third man strolled up and sat down by the party. Dick's square, said Silver. Oh, I know Dick was square, returned the voice of the coxswain, Israel Hands. But no fool is Dick, and he turned his quid and spat. But look here, he went on. Here's what I want to know, Barbecue. How long are we going to stand off and on like a blessed bumboat? I've had almost enough of Captain Smollett. He's hazed me long enough, by thunder. I want to go into that cabin, I do. I want the pickles and wines and that. Israel, said Silver, your head ain't much account, no ever was, but you're able to hear, I reckon. Leastways, your ears is big enough. Now, here's what I say. You'll berth forward, and you'll live hard, and you'll speak soft, and you'll keep sober till I give the word. And you may lay to that, my son. Well, I don't say no, do I? Growled the coxswain. What I say is win. That's what I say. Win by the powers, cried Silver. Well, now, if you want to know, I'll tell you when. The last moment I can manage, and that's when. Here's a first-rate seaman, Captain Smollett, sails the blessed ship for us. Here's this squire and doctor with a map and such. I don't know where it is, do I? No more do you, says you. Well then, I mean the squire and doctor shall find the stuff and help us to get it on board. By the powers. Then we'll see. If I was sure of you all, sons of double Dutchmen, I'd have Captain Smollett navigate us halfway back again before I struck. Well, we're all seamen aboard here, I should think, said the lad Dick. We're all forecastle hands, you mean, snapped Silver. We could steer a course, but who's to set one? That's what all you gentlemen split on, first and last. If I had my way, I'd have Captain Smollett work us back into the trades at least. Then we'd have no blessed miscalculations and a spoonful of water a day. But I know the sort you are. I'll finish 'em at the island as soon as the blunt's on board, and a pity it is. But you're never happy till you're drunk. Split my sides, I've had a sick heart to sail with the likes of you. Easy, old Long John, cried Israel. Who's the crossing of you? Why, how many tall ships, think ye now, have I seen laid aboard? And how many brisk lads drying in the sun at Execution Dock? Cried Silver. And all for the same hurry and hurry and hurry. You hear me? I've seen a thing or two at sea, I have. If you would only lay your course and a pint to windward, you would ride in carriages, you would. But not you. I know you. you'll have your mouth full of rum tomorrow and go hang. Everybody knowed you was a kind of chaplain, John, but there's others as could hand and steer as well as you, said Israel. They liked a bit of fun, they did. They wasn't so high and dry nohow, but took their fling like jolly companions, everyone. So, says Silver, well, and where are they now? Pew was that sort, and he died a beggar man. Flint was, and he died of rum at Savannah. Ah, they was a sweet crew, they was. Only, where are they? But, asked Dick, when we do lay 'em off watch, what are we to do with 'em anyhow? There's the man for me, cried the cook admiringly. That's what I call business. Well, what would you think? Put 'em ashore like maroons? That would have been England's way. Or cut 'em down like that much pork. That would have been Flint's or Billy Bones's. Billy was the man for that, said Israel. Dead men don't bite, says they. Well, he's dead now himself. He knows the long and short of it now, and if ever a rough hand come to port, it was Billy. Right you are, said Silver. Rough and ready, but mark you here, I'm an easy man. I'm quite the gentleman, says you, but this time it's serious. Duty is duty, mates. I give my vote. Death. When I'm in Parliament and riding on my coach, I don't want none of these sea lawyers in the cabinet coming home and look for like the devil at prayers. Wait is what I say, but when the time comes, why, let her rip. John, cries the coxswain, you're a man. You'll say so, Israel, when you see, said Silver. Only one thing I claim Trelawney. I'll wring his calf's head off his body with these hands, Dick, he added, breaking off. You just jump up like a sweet lad and get me an apple to wet my pipe like. Now, you may fancy the terror I was in. I should have leaped out and run for it if I had found the strait, but my limbs and heart alike misgave me. I heard Dick begin to rise, and then someone seemingly stopped him, and the voice of Hans exclaimed, Oh, stow that. Don't you get sucked into that bilge, John. Let's have us a go of the rum. Dick, said Silver, I trust you. All the gauge on the keg, mind. There's the key. You feel it panicking and bring it up. Now, terrified as I was, I could not help thinking to myself that this must have been how Mr. Arrow got the strong waters that destroyed him. Dick was gone but a little while, and during his absence, Israel spoke straight on in the cook's ear. It was but a word or two that I could catch, and yet I gathered some important news, for besides other scraps that tended to the same purpose, this whole clause was audible. Not another man of them will join. Hence, there were still faithful men on board. Then Dick returned. One after another of the trio took the pannikin and drank. One, "To luck," another with a, "Here's to old Flint," and Silver himself saying in a kind of song, "Here's to ourselves and hold your luff, plenty of prizes and plenty of duff." Just then a sort of brightness fell upon me in the barrel, and looking up, I found the moon had risen and was silvering the mizzen top and shining white on the luff of the foresail, and almost at the same time the voice of the lookout shouted, "Land ho!" That's the end of chapter 11. Chapter 12 is the Council of War. I shall see you in the water.